In this video, I'm going to teach you how to properly use the Bulgarian split squat to build optimal strength. Today, we're going to be going over the Bulgarian split squat, and we're going to cover the top 3 mistakes that I commonly see people make. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Dr. Mike, and I'm a physical therapist who provides tips on how to build strength and longevity with your body. Now, if you're anyone that has been focused on building lower body strength, you have probably came across the Bulgarian split squat, which you commonly see many people using this exercise in the gym. And although this is one of my favorite and a phenomenal exercise for building single leg strength, I see so many people doing this incorrectly. So today we're going to clarify how to properly perform this exercise and ensure that you do not make the same mistakes. So the first mistake that I see people make with this exercise is starting off in a poor posture, in a poor position. The setup can make a world of a difference here. And if you set up incorrectly, more than likely you're going to target the wrong muscles with this exercise. The common mistake I see people make is this leg that they put out in front of them is commonly too far out in front of them. And what that causes is it reduces your range of motion with this exercise, and it doesn't allow you to fully take that front leg through nice full range of motion. So if they step right out when they do this exercise too far, what it tends to do for this back leg is because we have so much tightness typically in the quadriceps and the hips, what you'll tend to see is your lower back will follow. And what that means is if I have too much stiffness in my hip, I will start to compromise in the lower spine, which can often lead to low back injuries or some flare-ups, especially if you're someone who has been dealing with this in the past. So we don't want that leg to be too far out when we do this exercise, which is going to cause this, what we call lumbar lordosis. This may look like I'm doing no damage, but after the next few days, when you are sore from this exercise, you're gonna definitely feel and know that you probably aggravated some stuff in the back, and that's simply because of that foot position being too far out. Now, the way that we can fix this foot position is that if we're sitting all the way back into the chair and I just extend that leg that's going to go out in front of me, this is going to be my starting position for my foot and where my foot is going to be stationed as I begin this exercise. Then I can stand up, and as I'm lowering down, you're gonna notice now that the knee is dropping straight down versus going behind me, which is a common problem that will cause more stress in the hip as well as more stress in the lower back. Now, the next mistake I see many people make is that they lean too far forward with their trunk, which increases the stress on their lower back and really doesn't allow them to train the legs effectively. Now, many people using this exercise, although you can perform this with body weight, they are commonly using either dumbbells or kettlebells at their side. And what many people will do, especially if the weight is too heavy, is they'll start to lean their trunk too far forward, and they're just doing this. They kind of stay over in this slumped position. Now, although there is some bias with this exercise, meaning that if I sit my trunk straighter up, I'm gonna target the quadriceps. And if I have a slight lean over, just a slight with my trunk, I might target my glute muscles. However, when the weight is heavy and you're getting tired, you really should be focused on what's happening in the trunk so you can optimally use these legs to get out of that bottom position. What you don't want to do is, as it gets heavy, allow yourself to slump over just like so, where your hips are rising up too fast. You really want to make sure that you use this leg to drive into the ground. If you see the difference between me rounding my back and being slumped over and versus me using this leg to extend up and get a good workout with that specific leg there. Now, if you made it this far, terrific, because now we're going to be covering the most important mistake that I commonly see people neglect, and that is paying attention to your foot posture. Now, if you notice here, I am barefoot, and there's a specific reason why I'm barefoot, because that allows me to see what's going on at the foot and allows me to make corrections, especially that this exercise tends to challenge my balance quite a bit. Now, one of the things we often discuss on the Move with Dr. Mike channel is building that tripod. That is gripping the ground with your foot and allowing you to put pressure through your foot so you can make a nice arch. We teach the tripod where you're applying pressure through the big toe, the smaller toe, as well as the heel, and you should allow and see that arch kind of lift up, and you can feel your toes really gripping the ground where you have a good foundation. Now, the mistake that I often see many people make is they're constantly wearing supportive shoes that have a lot of cushion, which really takes away their awareness of their foot. And what tends to happen is if I disregard my foot posture and I just allow my foot to collapse or maybe even turn my foot slightly outward, look what happens to my knee there. It tends to allow my knee to track in, which will cause a lot of stress along the medial side of the knee, which can lead to many other injuries in the future. So you want to make sure that you build a nice good tripod in that foot and you can feel the ground before you even start this exercise. That way, as you are lowering down, that knee can effectively track over the foot and you can feel all of the muscles in the hamstrings, quads, as well in the glutes working effectively. Now, another tip to keep in mind is when you're placing that foot in front of you, how much of a width you have between your feet. Some people will set up with their legs way too narrow, so then it's a balance exercise for them, and this exercise becomes very difficult when you're using weight. So make sure that as you bring that leg out in front of you, you take a few inches outward with that foot set up so that now you are more squared and more balanced with your feet there. Now, if this exercise is too difficult on your balance, then I would highly recommend that you take a look at my other video where I go over the split stance exercise. This is great because it allows you to have that back leg more supported, and there's many great variations that you can use to also build strength with that particular exercise. If you found this video helpful, please support this channel by subscribing below. And if you'd like for me to cover another specific exercise and ensure that you are performing them correctly, make sure to comment below on which exercise you'd like for me to cover. In the meantime, thanks for watching.